In this video, we're going to be finding equivalent fractions. And here's my question. What are some ways to name the same part of a whole? Well, let's talk about what a whole means. A whole means one, and it's the entire thing, whatever that one is. It could be one whole cookie. It could be one whole pizza. It could even be one whole class. I have 26 students in my class, and when everybody's there, my whole class is there. If somebody's gone, my whole class is not there. So I cannot say that I've got my one whole class with me on that day. So this is just a model representing one whole, but let's pretend it's a cookie. And I want to show you something really important. When I'm finding an equivalent fraction and I want to compare, right? So they have to be equal, because that's the root word of equivalent, right? Equal, right? So if I eat half of this cookie and I eat half of this cookie, are they the same size? Look at the size of this half compared to this cookie. So they are not the same size. So this half is not equivalent or equal to this half. And that's really important to remember, that when we are talking about equivalent fractions or comparing fractions, our whole has to be the same size, okay? So let's bump you out of here because you're too little. You're not the same size. Now, if I eat half of this cookie and I eat half of this cookie, then I can say they are equivalent. They are equal because the cookies are the same size. All right. So now let's go back to our question. What are some ways to name the same part of a whole? Well, we're going to be using area models and number lines to find equivalent fractions, okay? And so now let's take a look at this rectangle down here. This is a model, but just so that we can pretend and have a visual image in our heads, let's pretend that this is a pan of brownies, okay? So I cut this pan of brownies in half. And so let's go ahead and mark off what half looks like here. All right, I'm going to color this in. So somebody ate half of this pan of brownies. So it's two parts, right? So it's 1 out of 2 parts. So 2 is my denominator, and that's the total number of parts, and the 1 is the numerator, and that is the part that we're talking about. So 1 here. Now let's take a look at this pan of brownies. Now this is the whole pan, and notice it's the same size. It has to be the same size. Well, let's cut it up a little bit more. Let's cut this pan of brownies up into 4 parts. And now let's highlight the same amount so that we can make it equivalent, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and color in this part, and I'm going to go ahead and color in this part here. And now, how many parts total do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 parts total. How many did I highlight? 1, 2. So this is my numerator. 2 out of 4. So somebody ate 2 out of 4 pieces. And check it out. This whole thing here is the same size as this part right here. So I kind of blur my eyes really when I look at it, and I can see that this is equivalent. So 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. Yes? All right, so now let's cut it up again though, which is kind of fun. Let's go ahead and slice it up again one more time. Did I change how much there is? No. Did I change the whole possible? No. Did I even change how much was eaten? No. I simply cut it up into more parts. Now, let's go ahead and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 parts out of how many? How many total are possible? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4/8, 4 out of 8. So look at 1/2 is equal to 2/4, and it's also equal to 4/8. I didn't change the whole. I didn't change how much was eaten. I just cut it up a little bit more. right? So that's how we use area models to find equivalent fractions. And now let's go ahead and use a number line. All right, here's my number line, and we're going to find an equivalent fraction using a number line. So here's the point that I want you to pay attention to. This is my halfway point between 0 and 1 whole. And it could be, again, it could be 1 whole cookie, it could be 1 pizza. This is just a model representing 1 whole. Here's where half falls on my number line. How many parts are there? 1, 2. So this is 1 part right here out of 2 possible parts. Well, let's continue breaking up this number line, right? Let's break it up into 4 parts. So I'm just going to cut this half into another half and this half into another half. Did I change my whole? No. Did I change where my halfway mark is? No. But now how many parts do I have? Well, let's count them. 1, 2, 3 parts, 4 parts. So this right here is 1 part out of 4. So that's 1/4. And this part right here, 1, 2, is 2 parts out of 4. Aha! Look at, I just gave 1/2 another name. Let's keep going. This here is 3 parts out of 4. And let's fix that 4 a little bit. And right here, this is my 4th part out of 4. Right here. Okay, so we've got 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts. 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4, right here. Now let's break up this line again. Let's break that half, or 1/4 into another half. Let's break that one in half. Let's break that one in half and cut that one in half, all right? Now how many parts total do I have? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. Did I change my 1 whole? Nope, I left it the same. Is my halfway mark still here? Yep. So now let's label this one. This is 1 part out of 8 total. That's 1/8. This part right here is the 2nd part out of 8. It's 2 parts out of 8. This one is 3 out of 8. Or 3/8. This one is 4. Halfway, right? 4 is half of 8. 4 parts out of 8. This one here is 4 and then 5. This is 5 out of 8. 8 parts, 5/8. This one is 6. We'll just keep counting. This is 6 out of 8 parts. And then this one is 7 out of 8 parts. And then out of 8 parts, all of it is 8 out of 8. My 1 whole, 8 out of 8. So, what do you notice? This part right here, look at, they are all 3 different ways to name 1/2. So 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4, and it's also equivalent to 4/8. Do you see any other places on this number line where 2 fractions are equivalent? In other words, they both represent the same part of 1 whole. How about this? Look at this place right here on the number line. It's 1/4, but it's also 2/8. They're equal. How about this place? Here, 3 out of 4 is equal or equivalent to 6 out of 8, or 6/8. Is there another place? How about my 1 whole? This place on the number line right here, 4/4 is also equivalent to 8/8. That's everything. 4 pieces out of 4 or 8 pieces out of 8 is the whole thing, my 1 whole. And that's how we can use a number line to find an equivalent fraction. Thanks for tuning in.